Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So, Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, today met former US President Donald Trump here in the United States of America. And we have an article here that will talk about this meeting. This article comes from The Hill from August 2nd, and this is the title: Trump meets with Hungary's Orban. So, former President Trump on Tuesday met with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, and I would like you to pay attention to the words this person, Bread Dress, uses. That's his name, Bread Dress. So, met with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, a far-right nationalist and a close ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin. What gave it away that Orban is a close ally to Putin? Is because he made a deal for his country, so Hungary, not Orban with Putin. Hungary made a deal for natural resources with Russia. So Hungary made a deal for, I don't know, about 7-8 years or something at a cheap discount price for his people. Is that because they're allies? Is it because they drink together? Because they FaceTime every evening? Why is it his friend? Why is it his ally? Because he didn't want Orban, he didn't want to damage his country by adopting the Brussels policies, the sanctions that would have crippled the Hungarian economy and the Hungarian people for Ukrainians? Is that why he's an ally? Well, if these two reasons are not the ones, then maybe you can mention some other ones that I'm missing. So this is in Mr. Dress, like a dress, Mr. Dress's assessment that he's a far-right nationalist and a close ally of Russian President Putin. This is not all. Trump wrote in a post on his social networking platform Truth Social that he and Orban, and I'm quoting, discussed many interesting topics and celebrated the Hungarian Prime Minister's election victory in April. Well, this Viktor Orban, he was elected, I think, 4 times by Hungarian people, and I think it was a landslide, at least not only the last one, but the one I'm most familiar with. So 4 times elected by his people in a democratic system. So his people seem to like him. So that means his policy that he is implementing are accepted and supported by who needs to be supported by, which is the Hungarian people, not the people in Brussels, not by Romanians, not by Hungarians from overseas, or not by Ukrainians. It's only by Hungarians from Hungary. That's all that matters. And it seems like he's doing a good job because he got 4 times re-elected. The two have long held close ties, with Trump hosting the Hungarian leader at the White House in 2019. In January, Trump endorsed Orban in his race to win a 4th term in office, calling him a strong leader who has done a powerful and wonderful job in protecting Hungary, stopping illegal immigration. The Hungarian leader won the April election in a landslide victory. So, what did Trump say wrong here? Anything? Strong leader. Why, you want a weak leader? No. So it's something bad that he's strong? No. That's good, he's strong. Right? Has done a powerful and wonderful job in protecting Hungary. Hungarian culture, Hungarian tradition, Hungarian borders. Is there anything wrong with that? No? And stopping illegal immigration. Illegal means against the law. Do you like criminality? If someone comes in my house without being invited, that's trespassing. and that person is illegally on my property. And I'm going to call the cops, or I'm going to call Ruger, or maybe Walter, one of the two, and we'll discuss differently. So, okay, he did a good job with that. You come in my house with my permission, as I come in your house with your permission only. Orban, seen as an autocratic leader by many. How many? What's the percentage? And by much more many as a fantastic leader. So this Mr. Dress wants to let us know by saying many that it's a majority maybe. He doesn't tell us how many. And the many are not the Hungarian people who matter. The only ones who matter are the Hungarian people who voted for him 4 times. Not Mr. Dress's opinion or my opinion. These are irrelevant to Mr. Orban. Okay? So by many, he gives up about those many. And how many are there? I want to tell a little story from my college days here in the United States, not in Romania, in the United States. I had a professor here. He was a professor in integrative social science. I don't know what that was, ISS. I got it because I had to. It was my first semester here. So I got this professor. I was still, America, freedom of speech. And yes, this professor's name was Mark Houlihan. And he was he had a PhD. He was associate professor at that time. And he had a PhD, right, in social science and history, actually. I found him. He's online. And he was academically dishonest. And he was very limited, not only here, limited in knowledge in his field. And needless to say that he used this trick. Many say that this, many say that this. How many? Then was the first time when I started hearing many say, okay, it matters how many. It matters. If you're in a country and you have 100,000, let's say 100 million people. In 100 million people, you have many, which is, let's say, 50 people. That's many. Don't like you. What should you do? But the rest like you, right? So, many people say that you are not doing a good job. And those many are 50 out of 100,000 or 100 million. Should you really, is that those many that I'm reporting, do they matter in the whole scheme? 100 million are with me and say that I'm doing a good job, and I got 50 who say I'm not doing a good job. Do I listen to the 50 or do I listen to the majority? I can listen to the 50 and maybe I can improve, but I'm not in front of them as them being my judge. They are my judge, but you know what I mean? I'm doing a fantastic job if I have the rest versus the 50. So this trick with many, pay attention to it, how they use it. So Orban is seen as an autocratic leader by many. So he's an autocratic by many. Many see him. So that means, there are many. They say, how many? 3, 5, 20? Was snubbed last year by President Biden, who declined to invite the European leader to a democracy summit he hosted. Well, that's bad diplomacy, that's all. And maybe he didn't want to see you because what could he talk to someone who's not there, if you know what I mean? I'm talking about Orban talking with someone who's not there. More recently, Orban faced backlash for saying countries with a large share of migrants were no longer nations but a conglomeration of peoples. Backlash. Okay, how many people? When they say another keyword, backlash, how many people was the backlash? So we're 7 billion on this planet. How many were there? 1,000? Well, we don't care about 1,000 because there were 6 billion and so many there was no backlash from those guys. So again, look at how many and how many. But they tried to make you a backlash. Okay, how many? How many were over there? 5 people? Maybe they are the wrong ones. I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't even care. I mean, you can't satisfy everybody. You shouldn't even try, because that means you don't have personality and values. Because that means you have to, satisfy the criminal and the law-abiding citizen. You can't do that in the same time. So you have one of them to have it unsatisfied. So if you have a backlash from the criminal, why do you care? You know what I mean? I mean, you have to go by your conviction. But this is the words this guy used for saying countries with a large share of migrants were no longer nations. Well, it was more nuanced, complex than this guy makes it over here. And there is a world in which European peoples are mixed together with those arriving from outside Europe. Now that is a mixed race world, he said during a speech last month. Isn't it? So let's say Europeans, I'm going to say something that I'm going to break the news, Caucasians, whites, however you want to call, yeah, now with influx on that. Let's say some Asians come in, and coming Asians, they would mix. Is that a mixed race? Or is it going to be still European? I don't want to hear that, oh, Europeans are not white. Well, just go 50 years back, okay, and then we're talking. Now, I'm not talking about what they try to do now, all right? And Europe did not start 50 years ago, okay? It has take at least 2,500 years ago, years as a span, and see what kind of people lived here. And see, okay? So that's Europe. Well, 50 years, that's not Europe. They try to change that, the 2,500 years of Europe. So that's Europe. And nevertheless, these guys are just hacks. So this guy is just trying to discredit him over, obviously. Orban is a darling among the US conservatives for his hard-line stance on immigration and die-hard conservative values. The Hungarian leader is set to speak at the Conservative Political Action Committee conference, CPAC, in Texas this weekend. Now, if he's a conservative, he makes a lot of social, which is left-leaning policies he puts in place, like other people who did in other eras, which is he supports families, he supports, children, having children, natality, and, so the Ukrainian, Hungarian nation does not collapse like Japan or the original United States. I mean, if you just cut the immigration here and just the illegal immigration or whatever you do, you're going to go in, drop in population. So in many countries, that's a problem, right? It's a decline in natality and all that. So here you have, he's promoting some social programs meant to increase the Ukrainian nation and keep it at least at a floating level. And not only that, he gives money to families who have children who do this, who do that. And well, if you think that's traditional, then that's a service provided by the government. That's by definition is a leftist ideology, right? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.